want to talk to us about something really important tonight. And that's about your team is a reflection of you. And what I mean by that is that you are a culture champion. And whether you lead a small team, whether you lead a large team, or somewhere in between, you are a culture champion. And your team is going to reflect to you exactly what kind of leader you are. So if you are a leader who is supportive, if you are a leader who encourages and who empowers them, who has a training culture, who um, is there for them, motivates them, drives them to results in a meaningful way, impacts their lives in a meaningful way, you're going to see that reflected back to you. Now, if you are the kind of leader who is let's be real, chaotic, okay? If you're a chaotic leader where you are a gossiper, backbiter, someone who does not hold yourself accountable, if you are someone who maybe doesn't follow the rules or isn't great about holding yourself to any type of standard, you're going to see that reflected back to you. And oftentimes we might be tempted to look around us and blame our team for not doing what we say or being the problem when we are not getting the results that we want, or we're not seeing them reflect the behaviors of a team that we would consider who would be hitting all the marks or who is excelling. And if that is the case, then we need to be looking inward, because anything that we permit, we're going to see. If your team is going to directly reflect the kind of leader that you are. I was talking to my sister today, and she is someone that we are constantly bouncing things off of, and she's so wonderful because she just encourages me on this journey. As far as talking about leadership, she knows how passionate I am about this topic, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to share my experiences with her over the years. And as she has entered her own leadership journey, I've been able to share my experiences, and she's been able to take that and run with it, and has been able to see just tremendous results. And so I'm so proud of her on so many different levels. And we were just talking today, and how she was just sharing with me how she's been able to lead her team, and how she was just beforehand, how she was really seeing there was just this disconnect with her team, and she wasn't quite sure what it was, and she just kind of wasn't getting the flow that she wanted, or she thought that she just wasn't seeing the flow. She wasn't feeling the flow. But as she started to work on herself internally, and this channel is all about leading self first. We have to lead ourselves well before we can ever start to think about leading someone else. Because if we're still dealing with all the junk inside, we can't touch anybody else. Okay. We're not going to be perfect. I'm not saying you have to be a perfect person, but what I am saying is that you do have to do the internal work, because how are you going to be able to speak life into someone else if you're a sack of bones, if you're dead yourself? So she was just saying how she's been able to incorporate some of the things that we've talked about over the course of her leadership journey and how she has seen a complete 180, and not only in her team, but in herself. She talked about the golden rule, how she stopped trying to control the outward. She stopped trying to control the external and focused on the internal. And then as she focused on the internal, everything outside of her started to shift. And she was talking about how, someone on her team who was very timid about doing a certain task took the initiative today to do that task because she empowered them to do it, because she encouraged them to do it. And when she was on her lunch break, she could have ran back in and handled that task, but this person felt empowered enough to do this task, even though they might have been intimidated to do it before. And she also talked about how another teammate who grabbed another teammate who's newer on the team and trained someone else to do something. And they didn't have to do that, but they took the initiative and trained somebody else to do another task. And I had to stop and tell her, I was like, you understand that this is the kind of culture that you're creating. They're doing this because you're creating this culture. Because she's told me weeks ago the steps that she's been implementing with her team, that, hey, she's asked them about their goals, their aspirations. And now that she knows that, she's able to say, hey, this is what we're going to do so that we can make sure that we're getting you to this goal. This is what we're going to do to make sure that you're accomplishing this. This is what we're going to do to ensure that you're learning this. Hey, if this is the position, if you want this position, if you want my position, this is what you're going to have to learn to do. And so because she knew that, and the thing about it is, and I'm not going to go there, I almost went on a tangent. Never mind. We'll talk about that on another day. I'll write that down. But because she took the initiative to go to her team, find out what their needs, their wants, and their desires are, she was able to then start to take action. And as she took action, her team started to work and create the culture she was creating. And now she's seeing them do it without her having to delegate and do that. They're doing it amongst themselves. And they're creating that culture because that's the culture she established. And so I'm saying, look at the success. Look at the success. And so anybody that comes in the doors will say, hey, this is how we run the business here. This is how we do things here, because this is the standard. This is the precedent that you have set. And so we have to be very mindful that if you are experiencing those negative behaviors, you're seeing the backbiting, the gossiping, the talking back, the insubordination. And I'm not saying that you can't control people. So you might have a bad apple, you might have a bad egg. That doesn't mean that's your fault. Okay, there's nuances to this. But what I'm saying is, if your whole team's behavior, if your whole team's culture is trash, what's up? We gotta look internally. And the thing about it is, and you're probably saying, well, Tiffany, what if my company's culture is trash? Guess what? Just because your company's culture might be trash, you are still creating a culture within your team. You still have the power to create your own little nucleus, your own little culture within your team. And believe me, if you're doing that, your reputation will precede you. People will hear all about your successes. People will rant and rave about being on your team in the best ways because people are motivated. People are excited. People are showing up. You're retaining your top talent because remember, people don't leave jobs. People leave jobs because of the management, because of the leaders. And so we can't sit here and say, oh, it's them, it's not me. Well, it's top down. Anything that's going on around you, your team, they are a mirror. They are a mirror. If you cannot go on vacation, if you are your best performer on your team, if you can't go on vacation, if you can't take a lunch break, if you can't leave 5 minutes without all of Hades breaking out, then there is a problem. Something is wrong. And I get it. You might have a team who has very little tenure. And again, there are going to be nuances to this. So there might be a ramp up period. But when it comes, if you've got tenure on your team, and it doesn't even have to be that much tenure. Okay. But it's about what are you entrusting your team with? Are you giving them responsibilities? Are you empowering them? Do they know that you trust them? Do they trust you? Do they know that you have their best interest at heart? Do they truly know that? Or do they feel like another cog in the wheel? Do they feel like just another number? Because if that is how they feel, then guess what? You can't expect much. Praise God, they showed up to work today. So we really, really have to be mindful of the kind of culture that we are creating. We are culture champions. Like I said in previous videos, we should be the fuel. We should be the fuel. We don't want to bully. We don't want to be the bully. We don't want to knock our team around. We want to be able to rally them together. So, that's what I was saying. It trickles down from the top. It trickles down from the top. So you can't say, oh, it's so-and-so's fault. It's so-and-so's fault. It's so-and-so's fault. If you are the top, even if you may not be at the top of the org chart. You may not be at the top of the organization chart. But if you're at the top of the team, it trickles down. So if you're seeing madness going on, it's time to turn that mirror around and look inward and saying, what am I allowing on this team? It may not even be necessarily this thing. It could just be about what am I permitting? Am I here? Am I allowing the gossip? Am I seeing the gossip? Am I allowing the backbiting? Am I not holding people accountable? Because if people are allowing that, they think anything goes, then, and I'm not addressing it, I'm not having any of these tough conversations, then people are like, oh, well, so-and-so doesn't care. We just kind of do our thing. Well, no, no. We should have a mutual respect and have an understanding that we're gonna show up. We're gonna do our best. We're gonna work as a team. We're gonna support each other. And if somebody falls off the wagon, we're gonna do what we can to get them back on. And so, yeah. I just wanted to be able to share that message with you today. I'm just so proud of my sister. I'm just so proud of her because if you've been a leader for any period of time, especially if you're new, you know what it is to feel that kind of like that you feel like you're trying to get somewhere, but you're kind of stalling out because you are trying to navigate, you're trying to steer the ship, but it feels like you're just not on one accord. And that's normal. So if you are in that place, you have the ability, this is not a death sentence. If you are a leader who is in this place with your team, this is not a death sentence. You might have a lot of work to do. I'll be honest with you, you might have a lot of work to do. There might be a lot of repair that needs to happen. There might be a lot of conversations that need to take place, a lot of open hearts and open minds that need to take place, because there might be some serious damage that might have gone on. So, and again, nuanced situations, I don't know everything, but this isn't a death sentence. But you can always start to shift and start to make different decisions. You have the ability to be able to make different decisions every day, to be able to right size the ship, right size the boat, and get it in the right direction. So, my name is Tiffany, and on this channel, we are learning to lead ourselves well so we can serve others better. Whether you have been in leadership for 30 seconds or 30 years, I believe you can learn something here. And so I hope that you'll continue to join me on this journey. If you have not checked out any of my videos, please do so. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.